years, the honor to perform inside the squared circle was reserved for a select few. For centuries, the pride of battle was always spilled upon the battlefields of men. For eons, from the start of time, the respect for a warrior's battle was immortalized by stories, lore, and grand statues of triumph. History books far beyond the word's comprehension. Their history sealed in the sands of time. But tonight, that all changes. Tonight, for the first time ever, an all-exclusive new brand professional wrestler debuts and evolves. It comes from the form, from the shadows of blood, sweat, tears, determination. Their war cries, no longer hailing from kings and lords, but from Amazons and queens. Their battles revolutionized our sport, being told by gospels, spread like wildfire of lore, goddesses of men, mothers of our sport, innovators, revolutionaries, and sacrifice. Their battles, their wars, revolutionized our sport, being not just a tier on the plateau, but the very foundation of rebuild. For they are faster, stronger, grittier, risk-taking, fearless, battle-worn, forever battling against the odds against them. Their struggle not to only be equal, but to surpass their counterparts, to be viewed as competitors, wrestlers, revolutionaries, show stealers of the night. The glass ceiling shatters. Tonight, suspend your beliefs, check your pulse, scream, cheer, howl for your champions who get their night to shine. Angels, women, wrestlers, divas, their evolution begins. Their journey, their conquest, their achievement will be performed upon their stage, their plateau, their battle, their fight, their victory, their blood, sacrifice, discipline, and body of work will finally be unveiled. This is their moment. This is their victory, their honor, their passion. It is the next chapter in pro wrestling, the next evolution, the next innovation. And it begins now. And now, Chick Fight proudly presents G1. massive event. 16 women chosen to wrestle here tonight, with the winners, 2 of them going to the grand finale at Wrestle Kingdom to face off against either Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks' championship title, whenever they see fit. The prestigious G1 tournament finally coming to the way of the women. Live broadcast calling tonight, Bobby the Brain Hidden. Yeah, humanoid, we can get this out of the way. It doesn't really matter that these women are going to fight here for some illustrious prize of women's championship title, whatever it is. What really matters is that Wrestle Kingdom, Bobby Roode is going to become a world heavyweight champion and be a United States champion on top of that. But tonight, we're not going to have to promote Bobby Roode because he's already promoted. Tonight, it's about the women, and let's just say I got my money on some of these gals. Needless to say, it's going to be one hell of a show indeed. It is a tournament for the first time ever, G1 going to the X chromosome. I cannot wait to see what these women are going to do. We have no advanced knowledge as to who is going to be in the tournament tonight. It has been complete speculation. There have been some sightings, there have been some rumors floating around. I don't know who my exact pick is, but if I was to pick someone, well, I'm not even sure if I can pick anyone because, again, we have no advanced knowledge of who's going to be in there. It's going to be innovative tonight. It's going to be hard-hitting. It is a first in history. Tradition meets innovation. I cannot wait to get this show started. Relax, humanoid. They're only women. All they know how to do is fight and wrestle. Hopefully they're going to remember how to make a sandwich. They're going to break each other in half. They're going to rip each other apart. There's going to be blood. There's going to be tears. There's going to be a lot of screaming. And that's probably going to be coming from me because I got better things to do. But it should still be an awesome show nonetheless. I can't wait to get this over with because I have to go to Japan and manage Bobby Roode, who's going to become world heavyweight champion. You said that enough, Bobby. Why don't we take you to the ring for our Master of Ceremonies and a special announcement from General Manager of Trick Fight, Sensational Sherry. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to G1. Those of you that know who I am the sensational Sister Sherry, the one who put this whole thing together. Now in just a couple of minutes, 16 women who were chosen at random are going to fight right here in this ring. They're going to fight, they're going to scratch, they're going to claw for the ultimate prize to have a title shot at whomever world champion they deem fit. Whether that be Sasha Banks from Ring of Honor or Charlotte Flair from the NWA, it doesn't matter because the end result is tonight we break ground, we make history, and we prove that women's wrestling is the number one reason why we are innovative, why we are traditional, and why we are the best, better brand. And always have been for the last 7, 8 years and beyond. So instead of wasting your time, why don't we get this tournament underway? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the opening round of G1. It will consist of 8 5-minute matches. Competitor from the NWA, WWF, and Ring of Honor, respectively, will compete. Advancement will be attained either by pinfall, submission, or countout. Now, let the tournament begin! Paige against Sexy Star, and only 5 minutes here as both of them circled the ring. Mitchell was watching intently on the outside as Star was a little bit too fast for Paige, getting her tossed to the outside. Paige would rise, kicking the stairs as Mitchell would just tell her to calm down. She went to re-enter the ring but didn't expect Star to fly over the ropes and crash into her. She rolled into the ring as Paige climbed up, catching Star with a headbutt and a sunset flip, coming off the rope with a crossbody. She rolled up and caught her with a kick to the jaw, quickly climbing the top rope and dropped her with a double axe. Paige then rammed her to the buckle, ramming her shoulders into the ribs as Star grabbed her around the head with her legs and then head scissored her out. She came off the rope with a drop kick and then another one, snapping her with a headlock takedown right into a triangle scissor lock. Paige rolled out, dropping her with a suplex right into the buckle, watching her crawl and tackled her to the buckle with a knee to the ribs. She then hit her with another one and another one, setting her on top and would climb. Star, however, would block and pushed her off, leaping off with a spinning head scissor. Paige was tossed right back into the buckle, smacking off as Star dropped her with an electric chair driver, nearly breaking Paige right in half. She covered, but only got a 2. Both women rose, with Paige winning with a kick to the ribs, then dropped her with a captured DDT. She then rolled and would climb the top rope, just started to punch at Star, then started to headbutt her. She pulled her up and slammed her down, stomping on her face, trying to rip the mask off. Star would fight back with a knee to the ribs, clotheslining Paige up and over the rope to the apron. Paige held on as she reclimbed up and would gouge at the eye, then bashed her head into the buckle. She then snapped her with a rope guillotine. She then got right back upon the apron, pulling Star through the ropes and seemed to set her up for a power bomb upon the apron. She rose her up and began to run, but Star quickly countered with a Hurricane Rana, tossing Paige off the apron right into the barricade. Good Lord, Heenan, these two are trying to kill each other. We still got tons of matches to go. I'm not even sure we can handle this. I don't know, Humanoid. I might just have to check out early. This is getting absolutely insane. Paige was hurt, and she was hurt bad as another official came down to check on her. She just pushed him away, sliding into the ring as Star smiled and caught her with a fireman's carry, then a running neck break with a drop kick to the face. Star would size her up as Mitchell just stood there without a word. Star coming off the rope, going for a tornado DDT. But Paige pushed her off, then blasted her with a kick right to the jaw. That stunned her as she then dropped her with the Rampage. Covering. But Star got her foot on the rope. Paige yelled out, pulling her over, going for the PTO, but Star was able to slide free, avoiding a clothesline as both of them caught each other with crossbodies. Both of them would rise, exchanging right hands, Paige winning with a headbutt and an uppercut, tossing her to the ropes, a Star Irish whip, leapfrogging, but Paige stopped in her tracks and slammed her with an exploder suplex. Paige was ready now, going for that PTO as Star pulled her in for a small package. Sexy Star took this one as she rolled to the outside. Paige yelling out that her hair was pulled, her tights were pulled. Not at all amused at this one as Star rose her hand in victory, passing by Mitchell as Paige kicked the stairs in frustration. Emma against Becky Lynch as Emma sauntered her way to the ring as Becky seemed to be a rock star. Hearing the bell sound as they went to lock up, but Emma hid behind the rope, asking her to back off. Becky would back up as they went for the lock up, but Emma caught her with a gouge to the eye, then a haymaker. She would twist the arm, then dropped her down, slamming her arm into the canvas, then locked her with a sit-out armbar. Lynch slowly would fight free, getting dropkicked to the outside as Emma waited, watching her climb the apron, then just kicked her back down. The ref would then recount as Emma rolled to the floor, bashing her head into the steel post that would body slam her on the floor. She rolled back into the ring, distracting the ref as Dana Brooke came down and slammed Lynch into the steel stairs. She quickly backed away as the ref didn't see anything, continuing the count, stopping at 6 as Lynch was able to roll inside. Emma stomping on her, dropping knees over her spine, then locked her within a clutch. She would sit upon her, dragging her up by the hair, and would push her back to the buckle, kicking to her ribs, causing her to the far end, and would splash her. She would then drop her with a suplex, covering, but only caught it 2. Emma didn't seem too amused by this as she stomped on her, dragging her to the corner, kicking her ribs, and would back up, going for the Emma sandwich, but missed as she crashed into the buckle. Lynch rising and snapped her with a DDT, rising to her feet, going for Emma, who grabbed her by the tights and low-bridged her through the ropes to the floor. She would once again get the referee distracted as Brooke kicked Lynch right into the stairs, backing away once Emma went back to the floor. She grabbed Lynch and bashed her head into the stairs, then moving right back into the ring, climbing the top rope and dropped her with a double axe, scoring only a 2. She would yell at the ref, pushing Lynch to the buckle and began to ram her knees into the ribs, then choked her with her boot, hitting a few haymakers, tossing her to the other. Becky Irish whipping and caught her with a clothesline, another clothesline, a back body drop and then a drop kick. Emma retreating to the floor as Lynch rolled through the out to the floor on the other side. Getting a running start as Emma pushed Brooke right in the way. Lynch didn't care though, clotheslining her down as Emma rolled into the ring. Lynch going after her, but she was dropped with a flapjack. Emma was waiting for it, going for a spine buster, but Lynch was able to counter it into an X Factor, followed by a fireman's carry right into the disarmer. Emma was in trouble, screaming out, trying to get free. Alexa Bliss climbing the apron as the referee saw that and went to push her out to the floor. But on the other side, Brooke would enter the ring, blinding Lynch with hairspray. She quickly rolled to the outside as Becky held her eyes. Emma rose, slowly rising up, dropping her with a flatliner DDT, covering. Scoring the win. Emma would grin at herself, the femme fatale just slowly rubbing her jaw as she rolled to the outside, having her 2 friends escort her to the back. Lynch holding her eyes in agony, saying that there was something in her eye but you couldn't call what you couldn't see. We had to prepare for the next match. this was a rivalry renewed, alright, as Mickie James went up against Beth Phoenix. They moved around the ring. Mickie going for a back grapple as Phoenix quickly broke free. Missing the clothesline as Mickie ducked, snapping her with a mid-kick right off the bat. That stunned her as she rose her up, slamming her with a fisherman suplex. Mickie not wasting any time as she lined herself up, watching Beth rise and went for a second mid-kick. But Beth blocked. She rose her up and dropped her with a one-armed capture powerbomb. She hit that one hard as Mickie rolled in pain. Phoenix pulling her up and dropped her with a gorilla press slam. Then one hard clothesline, grabbing Mickie from behind and caught her with a German suplex. She turned sharply and splashed her in the corner, raising her for yet another gorilla press. But Mickie slipped behind her, quickly locking her within a sleeper. Beth would sway, grabbing Mickie and just flung her off, then caught her with a release belly-to-belly suplex. Mickie would roll to the apron, pulling herself up as Beth went to suplex her back, but Mick caught her with a knee to the face, landing upon the apron and bashed Beth's head into the buckle. She quickly climbed up and caught her with a tornado DDT. Mickie pounced on her, locking her in a side headlock, but Beth rose her and tossed her off with authority. She watched her rise and took her head off with a clothesline, coming off the rope and dropped her with an elbow, then a second one, grabbing a hold of her legs. Beth would just grin, tossing her with a slingshot right into the buckle, but Mickie, like a cat, grabbed a hold and held on, leaping off with a moonsault, splashing down, covering, only for two. Beth was caught off guard as Mickie blasted her with a kick to the ribs and one right to the jaw. Vicious haymakers followed by a suplex. Climbing the top rope, picking her spot, and nailed Phoenix with a missile drop kick. Mickie had to put her away, hitting her with a running boot over the head, then a drop kick to the buckle. Charging in, but Beth nailed her with a boot to the face. Charging, but missed the clothesline. Mickie catching her with a neck breaker, quickly locking her in a neck vice. But again, Beth slowly began to rise. She just shoved her off as Mickie surprised her with a drop kick to the knees and a kick over the head. Mickie would move to the corner, watching Beth and caught her with a crossbody, but Beth held on, tossing her right off, charging and dropped her with a running double axe. She had enough as she pulled Mickie up, going for the glam slam, but Mickie rolled forward, tossing Phoenix right into the buckle, swinging with a mid kick, but Beth ducked, grabbing her and rose her up for the glam slam, but again Mickie fought free, kicked at her in the ribs and rolled forward, doing her version of a matrish, hitting Beth in the ribs and slammed her with a bulldog. She called her up and went for the mid kick a third time, Beth ducking, raising her up and dropped her with a glam slam. Scoring the win. Beth Phoenix had advanced to the next round, and that was going to be a hard performance to follow. She rubbed her head a little bit, raising her arms up and would exit the ring. Now that the Glamazon had moved to the second round, it was going to be hard to knock her down. She moved to the next match. AJ looked ready to fight as Kana just smiled at her, removing her ring gear, and the bell rang. AJ went to lock up as Asuka dropped her with a wrestling lift and a release German suplex. AJ was tackled to the buckle as Asuka blasted her with elbow after elbow, tossing her to the other, but AJ Irish whipped, hitting her with a running knee, then a bulldog. She grinned down as she came off the rope for the Black Widow, Asuka countering that right into a powerbomb. She grabbed hold of her legs and would slingshot her into the buckle, then locked her in the Asuka lock, wrapping her legs around and kept the hold applied. AJ was trapped trying to get free, kicking and flailing slightly as Asuka held on, twisting her a bit as AJ's neck and shoulder looked dangerously out of place and in trouble. The ref asking if she wanted to give up, but the answer was no. Asuka pulling back tighter as she would shake her body slightly, the ref keeping his hand up, checking on AJ, then called for the bell. That was a record right there, perhaps fastest win here at G1 tonight as Kana scored the win. AJ having passed out completely as Asuka slowly rose up, having that wild look in her eye, looking over at the G1 banner and the Wrestle Kingdom banner, raising her hand up and would slide out to the floor, making her way to the back. Serena was not in the mood tonight, going right for Carmella, who low-bridged her to the floor. She then would smile, catching her with a baseball slide, climbing the top rope and left up with a crossbody. She rolled to her feet, slamming Serena into the barricade, and then caught her with a kick to the jaw, pushing her back into the ring, rolling inside, but Serena caught her with a cheap shot to the throat. She then snapped her against the rope, stomping upon her in the corner, bashing her knees into her face, then placed her on top. Carmella kicking her off, leaping off, but missed the crossbody. She hit the canvas and rolled as Serena would punt her in the ribs, hitting her a second time, slamming her head against the canvas, dropping a knee over the face, then locked her in a chin lock. Carmella slowly rose, tossing her off the ropes, dropping her down, and caught her with a hip toss and a drop kick. Serena rolling to the floor as Carmella just held the rope down for her, asking how she was doing. Serena would spit at her, rolling inside and locked up, hitting a cheap shot to the face and an uppercut, then a kick to the midsection. Serena going for a pile driver, but she was dumped over. Carmella hit with her boot right over to the head, followed by a running bulldog, moving to the middle rope and left with a shoulder block. She rose her up and slammed her with a flapjack, then dropped her with a back suplex, covering, but only got a 2. Both women rose as Serena caught her with a gouge to the eye, grabbing her head and slammed her into the buckle, and then again and again and again. She set her on the buckle and would hit right to her kidneys and spine, bashing her knees right into her, backing away and hit a double knee right to her kidneys. The ref checked on her as Serena would stomp on her, yelling out that she was soft, dropping her with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. She followed that up by a leg drop, moving to the top rope and fire off some rounds, calling her up and hit her with a drop kick. She sized her up and would lock her in the bite of the dragon submission, squeezing tightly, trying to bend her head right off. Carmella, though, was able to get her foot up and kick Serena in the head, getting the hold release as she only had a minute. Serena tackling her to the buckle. She rammed her shoulders into the ribs and exploded with right hands, tossing her to the far end and charged, but missed the splash. Carmella dropping her with a back body drop and a clothesline, slamming her with a capture power slam. Only for 2. Time was ticking away as Carmella pulled her up to only get low bridge, drove first into the rope, then drop of the suplex. Serena climbing on top of her and would just lay into her with fists. The ref having to break it up as Serena called for it, going for the brainbuster stunner, but Carmella broke free, dropping her with an arm drag into an armbar. But Serena fought free, missing a clothesline as Carmella caught her with a neck breaker, then a drop kick, going for her, but Serena nailed her with a boot to the face, climbing upon her shoulders, going for a victory roll, but Carmella countered, pinning her. That had to be an upset there as Carmella just advanced to round 2. Serena looking absolutely shocked as she ripped her Bullet Club t-shirt off, absolutely pissed off, standing there screaming out that she got cheated on this one. Carmella just saying that that was how you did it, making her way to the back. just looked on as Awesome Kong stood there almost licking her lips as the bell rang. It wasn't fair. It just wasn't fair as Bayley went for Kong and she picked her up and just slammed her with a spine buster. Bayley rolled, pulling herself up as Kong splashed her in the corner, then slammed her with a belly-to-belly suplex. Bayley slowly rose, hitting Kong with a fist to the face. Kong grabbing her around the head, raising her up and just slammed her down upon the canvas. She came off the rope and splashed her down. Bayley would cough hard as Kong pulled her up, raising her up and dropped her with a powerbomb right upon the canvas. Bayley pulling herself up, calling Kong on as she charged, catching Bayley with an avalanche. She would place her on the top rope, climbing up as everyone stood upon their feet. Bayley looking like a friggin' Barbie doll compared to Awesome Kong here, who was just overpowering her, standing upon the top rope and dropped her with a superplex. There was no need for that at all as Bayley rose, staggering as she swung as Kong caught the fist, raising her up and slammed her with the awesome palm, scoring the win. It just wasn't fair to Bayley. It just wasn't fair. Kong just standing there in the ring dominant, looking around, realizing she made it to round 2. And this was going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Get this match underway, let me just say that earlier tonight, one of my besties, Emma, advanced to round 2. And tonight, I am going to do the exact same thing. What's going to happen is that Wrestle Kingdom is going to be me and my bestie going 1-on-1 at Wrestle Kingdom. It doesn't matter which one of us is going to win because Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair are out of our leagues. League of gorgeous people. The trio of buxom blondes. We are taking this whole tournament by storm. So whoever my opponent is, you're about to get wiped out. A record is going to take place. I'm going to beat you in 5 seconds. So please, come on down to this ring.
This was something that Alexa Bliss did not want to see as Sarah Del Rey made her return to pro wrestling. She came right into the ring. Bliss would just stand there in shock. Emma and Brooke not really knowing what the hell to do as the bell rang. Del Rey just stood there, unmoving as Bliss slowly walked over, going to lock up as Del Rey slammed her with a belly-to-back slam. She watched Bliss rise and slammed her with an elevated back suplex, then a hard clothesline. Bliss was then followed up with a DDT as Brooke climbed the apron. Del Rey grabbing her by the hair and dropped her with a release belly-to-belly suplex. Emma climbed upon the apron as she was blasted down with an uppercut. Bliss grabbing Del Rey from behind, going for a sleeper, but she got dropped with a stunner. Tossed to the rope, risen up and slammed with the Royal Butterfly Driver. Covering for the victory. That right there may have been a new record set as Sarah Del Rey just scored the win in a matter of 13 seconds. She rose her hand up, looking down at all three women that she decimated, rolling to the outside and started to make her way to the back, obviously advancing to round 2. Well, you couldn't have a tournament without these two, as both of them just smiled at each other. Both of them locking up as Trish pushes to the corner with a clean break. Then they'll lock up again with Trish tossing Lita to the rope, leapfrogging as Lita caught her with a drop kick to the ribs and a suplex followed by a body slam. Lita quickly latching her in a chin lock. Trish spinning out of a kick to the ribs and a DDT. Lita quickly rolling to the outside as Trish went after her. She tossed her back inside, avoiding a punch, and dropped her with an inverted atomic drop and a suplex, locking within a neck vice. Lita would struggle to her feet, breaking free and tossed Trish off, who caught her with a shoulder block. Coming off the rope, but Lita surprised her with a Hurricane Rana. Trish quickly countering with a roll through. Lita rolling back and caught her with a drop kick to the face, covering only for 2. Both of them rose as Trish won with a headlock takedown. Lita head scissoring out as both of them rose again, locking up. Trish catching her in a side headlock as Lita pushed her off, charging forward and caught the crossbody. She rolled off, then went for the twist of fate, but Trish pushed her off and swung with the chick kick. But Lita ducked and would springboard off the rope with a spinning head scissor. Lita tackling her to the buckle, climbing the rope and would land 5 good punches. As Lita just pushed her off, she went back after her as Lita slid onto the legs, going for a German, but Trish countered, hitting a German suplex herself, Lita flipped and landed upon her feet, coming off the rope but missed the clothesline. Trish going for a TDT but got tackled to the buckle. Lita was trying for something but got hit with a knee to the face. Trish leaping off the middle rope with a back elbow, then followed up with a spinning back suplex. She rose her finger up, locking in the headlock, and went for the Stratisfaction, but Lita pushed her off, catching her with a drop kick to the ribs. Trish losing her footing and slid to the outside. Lita would get a burst of speed, leaping with a suicide plancha, crashing into her, slamming into the barricade. It was a sick spot indeed as Lita slowly rose, Trish tackling her into the post to try to gain some ground. Both of them would exchange right hands, with Trish winning with a knee to the ribs, tossing Lita into the ring, then moved to the apron. Lita, though, quickly surprised her, leaping off the rope with a tornado DDT, vaulting over the rope, crashing upon the floor below. Another sick spot as the ref checked on him. Trish nearly out cold as Lita pushed her into the ring, covering, but only got a 2. She went for a sleeper, trying to wear her down. Trish slowly starting to battle to her feet, pushing Lita off, but was then dropped with a drop kick and then a body slam. Lita moving to the top rope, getting herself ready, hitting the Lita Salt, covering, but again, only a 2. Lita had to act fast, moving to Trish at the corner would stomp upon her ribs. Placing her on the top and climbed, but Trish fought back, headbutting her down, holding her back, gaining her balance and nailed her with a drop salt. She rose and caught her with a running neck breaker, holding her head and caught Lita with an arm drag, locking in the armbar. Lita would slowly rise and toss Trish through the ropes to the floor, coming off the rope with a baseball slide, but Trish caught her legs, dragging her over to the steel post and slammed both knees into the post. She then did it a second time, quickly locking in the Bret Hart figure 4. Lita screamed out as Trish held on as long as she could, quickly rolling back into the ring and would attack her knees and legs. She dropped Lita with a shin breaker, locking within a side leg lock. Lita again screaming out, refusing the tap as Trish was trying to put her away. Time was not on her side as she let go, dragging Lita over and placed her leg over the rope and came down with an elbow. Then a second one, pulling Lita up and went for a fisherman suplex, covering, only for 2. Time was ticking away as Trish pulled her up, exchanging right hands, tossing her to the ropes as Lita Irish whipped, missing a back elbow as Trish surprised her with a snapmare, then a hard kick to the spine. She locked her within a buffalo sleeper, nudging and pulling as Lita slowly began to rise, kicking off the rope and would toss Trish off, kicking her in the ribs, going for the twist of fate. But Trish blocked by pushing her off, swinging with the chick kick but missed. Lita tackling her with a buckle, running her shoulders into the ribs, and Trish caught her though, raising her up and slammed her with a running sit-out powerbomb. She would spring up, clipping the back of her knee, going for a sharpshooter, but Lita kicked her off, rolling to her feet with a hobble as Trish left with a crossbody. Lita rolling for her with a pin, but Trish quickly countered that into a small package. Only for 2. Both of them rose as they locked up, Trish pushing her to the buckle, Lita kicking her head off and climbed the top rope, but Trish quickly climbed up and went for the Stratosphere and dropped Lita down. She rose her finger up and swung with a kick, but Lita ducked, countering right into a twist of fate on the Revolution twist, counter right into a backslide. Scoring the win. That was the final first round match, and Trish Stratus just punched her ticket to round 2. Lita just shaking her head as her and Trish shook hands. This was a fight indeed, and one hell of a way to cap off the finishing round. Trish rolling out of the ring, raising her fingers up, saying 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, that was the first round there, folks. I can't believe all the action we saw here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to update the brackets here. This is in no particular order. And advancing to round 2, we have Sexy Star, Trish Stratus, Emma, Sarah Del Rey,
Beth Phoenix, Asuka, Carmella, and Awesome Kong. And again, these are not the official brackets, as Sensational Sherry wants to keep everything a mystery. What a round one. Yeah, whatever you want to say, Humanoid. These women are absolutely sick. They are absolutely crazy. You would never, ever see Bobby Roode do anything crazy or sick like that. Like, he doesn't need to do anything sick or crazy like that because he is a champion. Something that these women probably don't know much about. They may be talented in the ring, but compared to Bobby Roode, they are flickers of dust in the dim moonlight. You gotta give these girls some credit, Bobby. This was absolutely insane. I can't wait for round two. We're gonna take just a small break, and we'll get right back to round two of the tournament. And that will be our next pay-per-view coming up right after Wrestle Kingdom. That is our anniversary special Spring Stampede, the 8th Spring Stampede, and it's going to be a classic. Bobby, I'm almost exhausted. We still have 2 more rounds to go, and I gotta tell you, this is more than I bargained for. You know, I gotta tell you something, Humanoid. These women are absolutely crazy. These women, they're going absolutely berserk, trying to just get a shot at the Women's Championship. Now, you and I both know that I'm not the biggest propaganda of women's wrestling, but I gotta tell you, I wouldn't mess with any of these women here tonight. I especially wouldn't mess with Awesome Kong or Asuka or Sarah Del Rey. Speaking of which, who do you think has the advantage going in? When we have the breakdown, who's your favorite right now to win? To be 100% an honest, Humanoid, I gotta go with Awesome Kong. I think she's the one that has this whole thing. She came in, she dominated, she came in, she left, she's done. That is the one who's going to win this whole tournament. And you know, I might have to echo with you, but I think the one who's got the advantage is Sarah Del Rey. We haven't seen her since Starrcade. She came in, she equally dominated, and that is an oversight that just cannot be looked. Let's also not forget we still have a lot more matches to go, and we still have the big grand finale at Wrestle Kingdom. Let's take you back to the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is round 2 of G1. The remaining 8 competitors will face off in 4 10-minute rounds. The only way to advance is by pinfall, submission, or countout. And now, let the tournament resume! Star had no idea how she was going to pull this one off as Kong just towered over her with a grin. The bell sounding as Star came out with a drop kick and then another one. Kong swatting her aside and caught her with an avalanche followed by a body splash. Kong pulled her off, body slamming her down and caught her with a leg drop, covering only for 2. Kong pushed her to the buckle. Star catching her with a boot to the face as she went for a crossbody. But that was a bad idea as Kong tossed her with a fall-away slam, then a clothesline, nearly knocking her out. Slowly Kong rose, pulling Star up, who exploded with rights and lefts. Going for a kick, but Kong caught her and took her head off with a clothesline. She dropped an elbow, then pulled her up, raising her up for a powerbomb, but somehow Star countered with a Hurricane Rana. She tossed Kong into the buckle, waiting for her to get caught, and then drop-kicked the knee, tripping her down and came off the rope, hitting Kong with a baseball slide to the skull. She moved to the top rope and would wait, dropping her with a bulldog. She then came off the rope, trying for a spinning head scissor, but Kong caught her and just tossed her off. Star bounced off the canvas, getting dropped with a spinning back suplex, then splashed in the buckle. Kong would slowly climb the rope, looking for the big splash, and came down, but she missed. Star avoiding certain death, stomping on her and tried locking in a sleeper, but Kong just tossed her off, missing a clothesline as Star wrapped her within a crucifix. She tried to wear her down as Kong came down with a modified Samoan drop, turning around, going for a belly-to-belly, as Star would fight free, slipping out, crawling under her legs, and quickly would springboard off the rope, catching Kong with a moonsault head scissor. She had her throat, snapped the rope, watching her snap back as Star drop-kicked the back of her knees, dropping her down and went to the top rope, leaping with a moonsault, and covered. But she was tossed right off. She then charged right at Kong, who took her head off with a clothesline, dragging her up and slammed her with the Implant Buster! Scoring the win! Ever dominant Awesome Kong advanced to round 3. Looking down at Sexy Star, who was almost unmoving. Rolling out of the ring, having a purpose, making her way to the back. Came out with Bliss and Brooke on the outside. Trish keeping an eye on them as Emma snapped her with a cheap shot to the face, then kicked to the buckle. She stomped on her and tossed her to the far end, hitting her with a clothesline, then sent her on top. Climbing up, going for something, but Trish knocked her off, leaving with a drop kick. She grabbed at her legs, but Emma kicked her off, snapping her up, and caught Trish with a boot to the face, sending her to the floor. Emma got the ref distracted as Bliss and Brooke beat upon Trish, tossing her back inside as Emma would stomp on her, locking her within a side headlock. She would wrench and pull as Trish pushed her off, ducking a clothesline and caught her with a back elbow, then a clothesline up and over to the floor. Emma held her face, complaining that it was bruised. Trish climbed on the top rope, leaping off and crashed upon all three of them. She tossed Emma into the ring and caught her with a stepmare, locking her in a headlock. Emma fought to her feet, sliding out and rolled to the apron, surprising Trish with a gouge to the eye, then a rope guillotine. She hit her in the ribs, then with sunset flip, covering, but only for a 2. Both women rose as Emma caught her with a kick to the ribs, going for a DDT, but was back body dropped. Emma holding her eye, getting the ref's attention as Brooke and Bliss went for Trish, but she dropped him to the floor. Emma then went for a schoolgirl, but only got a 2. Emma then caught her with a flapjack, then a quick back suplex, climbing the top rope, leaving with a splash, but she missed. Trish then caught her with a quick DDT, rolling to the buckle as Brooke grabbed the leg. The ref definitely saw that, saying that was enough. Trish distracted long enough as she was caught with a modified Emma sandwich. She dropped Trish with a body slam, turning her over and went for the Emma lock, but she couldn't lock it in. Brooke got it, getting ejected from the bout as Emma went for the kill, placing Trish upon the top rope, going for a superplex. But Trish blocked, pushing her off. She gained her balance, but Bliss climbed up, Trish kicking her off as Emma caused her to crash and burn. She sized her up and dropped her with an exploder suplex, covering. But again, only a 2. She yelled out in frustration, pulling Trish up and went for a pile driver, but she dumped her over. Trish kicking her to her ribs and went for a suplex, wanting it, and nailed her with a kick to the buckle. She then splashed her with 2 knees to the ribs, setting her on top, but Emma was able to push her off. Emma caught her balance and was able to drop Trish with a double axe, saying that this was it as she rose her up for a suplex. She would raise it up and actually stall it, showing her superior strength, but Trish unfortunately slid free. She landed behind her, coming off the rope and caught her with a drop kick, then a hip toss. Emma rolling to the outside, taking a walk as Bliss climbed upon the apron. The ref had just about enough of this as he yelled at her. Emma quickly rolling inside, having something in hand. Trish ducking as Bliss got nailed on accident. Emma turned, wondering what the hell happened, getting kicked right in the head with the chick kick. Trish covering. Trish scored the victory here. Despite some distractions on the outside, Emma was unable to get what she wanted. Trish rubbing her jaw slightly as she rolled out of the ring, looking up at the banner knowing 2 down, 1 more to go. Had to prepare for the next match. match that never happened. Del Rey cracking her knuckles as Phoenix would stretch. She moved to the center of the ring as the bell sounded. They would lock up as Beth pushed her hard to the buckle, showing her superior strength. Del Rey rocking up and locked her in a reverse tie-up. But Beth just powered out, latching her in a side headlock and dropped her down. Del Rey head scissored out, locking up, hitting a knee to the ribs and an elbow to the spine. The knee, an elbow, a knee, an elbow, coming off the rope and hit a knee lift. She followed that up with a back suplex, then a bridge, only for two. Del Rey locked her in a front face lock. Phoenix raising her up and dumped her over the rope. She rolled to the outside as the two would begin to brawl. Del Rey catching her with a hard elbow to the face, tossing her to the post, but Phoenix Irish whipped. Del Rey smacking hard right into it. She held her head as Phoenix tossed her with authority right into the stairs. She would roll into the ring as Del Rey rolled inside at the count of 8. Phoenix stomping on her, pushing her to the buckle and would kick hard to her ribs. She set her on top and would toss her off, taking her head off with a clothesline, locking her in a trapezius lock. Del Rey slowly rose to her feet, spinning out and caught Phoenix with a drop toe hold. She locked her in a side headlock, latching on tightly as Phoenix rose and just flung her off. She watched her bounce off and dropped her with a back body drop. Missing a clothesline as Del Rey locked her quickly in a sleeper, wrapping the legs around, scissoring right into a rear naked choke. Beth would struggle here, slowly starting to break off using the ropes. Both of them rising as Beth caught her over the throat. She rose her up and tosses her the buckle, missing a splash as Del Rey dropped her with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 German suplexes. She rose in a rage, going for Phoenix, who rose her up and dropped her with a bone-rattling spinebuster. Phoenix pulled her up, double underhook in the arms, and dropped her with a double underhook powerbomb. She held onto the legs and rose her up, dropping her with a second one. She then held those legs, raising her up for a third time and powerbombed her right into the turnbuckle. Del Rey bounced off and was dropped with yet another vicious spinebuster. She was hurt, and she was hurt bad, dragging herself to the ropes and would pull herself up. Phoenix going for her, but she got kicked right in the ribs. Del Rey quickly latching on a front face lock as she was risen up and dropped over the rope, breaking the hold. Del Rey was coughing upon the apron. Phoenix blocked her right down to the floor with a one hell of a forearm. Del Rey rolled along the floor. She was hurting as Phoenix went after her. She grabbed her by the head and just slammed them into the stairs. She held on and slammed him a second time, moving over and dropped her with a suplex right upon the floor. Phoenix would drag her up, blasting her with an uppercut, but Del Rey hit one right back. Phoenix, Del Rey, Phoenix, Del Rey, Phoenix winning with a headbutt, raising her up for a suplex, but somehow Del Rey countered with a DDT right smack on the floor. She used the barricade to pull herself up as she tossed Phoenix into the ring, rolling inside, covering, but only got a 2. Del Rey dragged her up, locking her in a double underhook, but Phoenix broke free, surprising Del Rey with a tackle to the buckle. She was still a little bit loopy as Del Rey caught her with a double knee to the face, stunning her and caught her with a flying clothesline, then a headlock takedown. She would squeeze and wrench on her as Beth slowly rose to her feet, raising Del Rey up and just tossed her off with ease. She dropped down to a knee, however, as Del Rey caught her with a climb up enziguri, stunning her as she grabbed the legs, going for a cloverleaf, but Phoenix was still too strong, pushing her off to the buckle, rising, but Del Rey caught her with a drop kick and then another one. She followed up with a big-time body slam, climbing the top rope and dove off with a double X, but Phoenix caught her. She shook her head and just rose her upon her shoulders, dropping her with an airplane spin driver. Del Rey landed hard as Phoenix yelled that it was over, grabbing Del Rey from behind, raising her for the glam slam, and came down. but Del Rey somehow rolled and countered with a roll, lashing Phoenix in an inverted cradle ankle lock. How in the hell was she able to do that as Phoenix screamed out, unable to go far in the ring? She would drag her body over, going for the rope, but Del Rey quickly let go and locking within a crossface. She latched tightly and would pull back. Phoenix nearly struggling, nearly passing out, but found a way free. She rolled aside, latching Del Rey, and came down with a sidewalk slam. She rolled, shaking her arm out, coughing a little bit as she rolled her shoulder. Del Rey slowly rising as she caught her with a tackle to the buckle. She rammed her shoulders into the ribs, then tossed her hard to the far end. Del Rey bouncing off as Phoenix rose her up for a gorilla press, pumping her up and down, then dropped her down, nailing her with a running double axe. She pulled her up and rose her up with a clam slam one more time, and came down with it hard, covering. Needless to say, was a little bit shocked, pulling Del Rey up, going for a powerbomb, but Del Rey countered with a few weak punches to the head, but they were well placed. She slid free and on the way down, quickly like Beth in the Royal Butterfly. Del Rey had it somehow locked in perfectly, wrapping her legs around. Beth struggling to get free, trying to break it as the fans would rise. They knew this was the death knell here. They would slap the barricade, screaming for both women. Phoenix not able to move anywhere, struggling as her arms would shake. Del Rey would rock her body, locking it in place, re-cinching her fingers as Phoenix would scream out, her arms shaking. And she broke free. Del Rey was actually stunned at this one as Phoenix grabbed her right around the throat, slowly rising to her feet and dragged her up, raising her up, but her arm gave out due to the hold. Del Rey quickly grabbing her, dropping her with the Royal Butterfly Driver, covering. Make that two for Sarah Del Rey. She may have been tossed around like a rag doll, but she was able to outlast and outperform the stronger Beth Phoenix. She had to give the devil her due on this one. Del Rey showing signs of pain as she shook her arm out, but looked up at the banner. 2 down, 1 more to go. And she made her way to the back. had cheered as Carmella, hadn't a clue what to do here as Asuka licked her lips. She heard the bell sound as Carmella rolled to the outside. It was smart as she had to think strategy. Walking around a little bit, then rolled back inside. Trying to lock up, but got pushed to the buckle. She came at her and got dropped with a belly to back suplex, then a Samoan drop. Asuka dragged her to the center of the ring, stomping on her and locked her within a chin lock. Carmella would slowly rise, fighting free and kicked her in the chest, then clotheslined her down, coming off the rope with a crossbody, but Asuka caught her and would drop her with a side rib breaker, holding her and dropped her with a second one, still holding her, and then tossed her with a fallaway slam. She then snapped Carmella with a rear naked choke, but Carmella, thank God she had long legs, was able to kick off the rope, flipping behind her and blast her with a big boot. She backed away, trying to put this away early, raising her for a body slam, but Asuka kicked her feet, reversing it right into a vertical pile driver. She drove her down with authority and covered for the victory. A second clean sweep here for Asuka as she looked down at Carmella, petting her head gently and rolled out of the ring. She would lick her lips slightly as she turned, making her way to the back. We were getting ready now for the finals. We had our final four. She headed to the back.
You know, Bobby, I think I might be wrong. I think Asuka might be the one. She just might be the one. Pull this one off.
I don't know, Humanoid. We're down to the final four. We have Awesome Kong, Trish Stratus, Sarah Del Rey, and Asuka in the finals. To be honest, Kong and Asuka were in the ring collectively, from what I'm being told here, have been in the ring collectively 2.5 minutes. Trish and Del Rey had hard fights. Trish in the earlier round and Del Rey against Beth Phoenix. Honestly, I still think it's going to be Awesome Kong.
You know what? I wish I could agree with you, but I still think it might be Sarah Del Rey. She has that ring experience. It's going to be a big one indeed. Folks, we're going to take just another small break. When we come back, it will be the finals of G1. Winners going G1, this is Wrestle Kingdom, face off. Grand finale. Winner will have a title shot against either Sasha Banks or Charlotte Flair. Whatever pay-per-view they see fit. Let's take a small break. We'll be right back.
Well, Bobby, this is it. 4 women remain and only 2 will advance to the grand finale at Wrestle Kingdom. I still don't know who is going to pull this off. It's going to be an explosive end, to say the least. And I'm telling you what, Humanoid, I have my money on a couple of them, but I think I might just be breaking even here tonight. These women are absolutely crazy. And all I know is when we get to Wrestle Kingdom, Bobby Roode is going to become World Heavyweight Champion of Ring of Honor, and then he's going to go to the WWF. Will you please stop, Bobby? No one wants to hear that. Why didn't we get to grand finale here? The last 2 matches here of the night. Let's take it to ringside. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 3 of G1. There will be only 2 20-minute rounds. The only way to advance is by pinfall, submission, or by countout. The remaining 2 women will go to G1 for the grand finale. And now, let the tournament resume. now at the finals as it was Awesome Kong going one-on-one with Trish Stratus. Both of them forced to step into the center of the ring and shake hands before the bout started. The referee went over the instructions, and away we went. Both of them moved around the ring as Trish avoided a grapple and kicked at her ribs and her spine, avoiding Kong the best she could, catch her in the corner and would stomp to her ribs. Kong grabbed her by the leg and would drop her with a clothesline. She pulled her up and slammed her to the buckle, ramming her shoulders into her as Trish caught for air. Kong tossed her to the far end and splashed her. She rose her up and dropped her with a Samoan drop, rolling to her feet and came off the rope, splashing upon her. Only for two. She locked her in a sleeper, having that hard look in her eye, wrenching and twisting on her as Trish rose to her feet. She fought out with her elbows, bouncing off the rope and hit Kong with 1, 2 drop kicks, then a baseball slide right under, quickly latching her within a sleeper. Kong would rush to the buckle, but Trish let go just in time. Kong splashing her back against it as Trish snapped her with a DDT, covering. Only for two. Trish would stomp on her, trying to wear her down as Kong blocked a boot, shaking her head no and slowly rose, but Trish caught her with an enziguri. She stunned her and leapt with a crossbody as both of them went up and over to the outside. Trish had to act quick, grabbing Kong with near in the face, climbed the apron and would rush at her, leaping with a double axe. But Kong caught her, charging and rammed her spine first into the post. Kong was angry as she grabbed Trish by the legs and would spin her right into the barricade. Trish held her head as Kong tossed her back inside, hitting her with a leg drop, covering. But again, only a two. Kong would pull her up by the hair, going for a powerbomb, but Trish punched in her face, sliding free and nailed her with a straight kick to the jaw. A second one, stunning her with a drop kick to the ribs. Kong sliding through the ropes to the apron, holding on. Trish would then come off the rope, running at full speed and dove off with a flying shoulder tackle, hitting Kong as both of them went once again to the outside. Stratus was like a missile on that one. Second time on the floor as Trish was the first one up, holding her back as she watched herself, tackling Kong right into the steel stairs. She bashed her head into the steel, then pulled her up, pushing her inside and would climb the top rope, holding her balance and leapt off, hitting Kong with a missile drop kick. She rose her finger in the air and lashed her in a side headlock, going for satisfaction, but Kong just shoved her off. Trish landed hard and would rise, avoiding a clothesline with a matrish, rising up and caught Kong with a drop kick to the knees, then one hell of a kick across her head. That dropped her down as she waited for her to rise, hitting her with a second boot to the face, moving behind her and kick to the back of her head. Trish would stomp on her, driving a knee to her face, grabbing her legs, going for a figure four, but she got kicked off to the buckle. Kong rose and went after her, but was hit with the drop toe hold into the buckle. She held her face as Trish somehow dropped her with satisfaction. Kong was still hanging in there as Trish waited, swinging, and went for the chick kick and nailed it. Kong stumbled down to her knees as Trish went for a second one, but she was picked up and dropped with a bygone spine buster. She then picked her up a second time and dropped Trish with a powerbomb. That was just instinct right there as Kong stumbled back before covering. Trish kicking out, only a two. She looked at the ref, shaking her head, pulling Trish up and rose her for yet another powerbomb as Trish slipped behind her and would drop kick the knee, quickly coming off the rope and dropped her with a face buster. She had to finish it off quickly as she lined her up for one more chick kick. Kong ducking and slammed her with a belly-to-back splash. She pulled her up, hooking the arms, raising her up for the implant buster, but Trish would kick with her feet, getting herself free, avoiding a punch, and picked up Kong and slammed her. Holy mackerel, the crowd went nuts as Trish held her back, leaning against the rope, daring her back as she swung for the chick kick. Kong kicking her right in the ribs, hooking the arms, and dropped her with the implant buster. Awesome Kong had advanced to the grand finale, making decent work of Trish Stratus, who gave it her all here tonight. Kong slowly rising up, raising her hand in victory, looking down at her victim. 3 ladies down, and she made almost relatively quick work of all of them. Exiting the ring, making her way to the back, preparing for the final match of the evening.
Final match of the evening. It was a dream match of the ages. Both of them skilled in wrestling, one American and the other Japanese. Both of them well versed as they moved to the center of the ring. Del Rey wearing on her straps, Assault Asuka on them as she just smiled at her. The bell sounding, and away we go. Both of them would circle the ring, locking up and struggled. Del Rey dropping Asuka with a toss over, smiling as they locked up again. Asuka dropping her with an inverted toe hold, locking her in a headlock as Del Rey rose, pushing her off as Asuka smiled at her. They locked up a third time. Del Rey hitting her with a knee to the ribs. Asuka firing back, and then Del Rey, then Asuka, then Del Rey. Asuka hitting her with a headbutt, then an uppercut. But Del Rey fired right back. Asuka spinning and caught her with a spin kick right across her head. That stunned her as she dropped Del Rey with an exploder suplex. She grinned at Del Rey as she locked up with her again, dropping her with a Tomoe throw, then a hip toss, an arm drag, then locked it in as Asuka would spin aerobatically, spinning and countering Del Rey into a hammerlock. Del Rey would fight free with a back elbow, then a second one, causing Asuka to with a belly-to-belly suplex, hitting her with a drop kick and a clothesline to the floor. Asuka hit the apron, rolling back inside and went for a kick as Del Rey dropped her with a dragon screw, quickly locking her within a side leg lock.
Asuka screamed out, slowly fighting her way free as Del Rey tackled her to the buckle. Asuka bashing both knees in her face and then caught her with a spinning back fist. A second one, a third one, finishing her off with a release suplex into the buckle. Asuka would drop her next with a release dragon suplex, charging and blasted her right in the face with a running knee. Del Rey was then drug up and dropped with a release German suplex, then got her head taken off with a clothesline. Asuka quickly locking it within a reverse chinlock, wrenching on it as the camera zoomed in, and Del Rey was busted open over the eye. Del Rey would slowly fight, rising to her feet and would spin free, dropping Asuka with another release belly-to-belly suplex, a drop kick to the rope, charging and tackled her up and over to the floor with a crossbody. Del Rey was up first, bashing Asuka's head into the stairs, picking her up and suplexed her right into them. Asuka was hurt after that one and Del Rey was pissed, tossing her into the ring and climbed up. Asuka, though, kicking her right to the ankles as Del Rey slipped and her face first hit the apron on the way down. The ref checked on her as Asuka went after her instead, tossing her back into the ring and would climb the top rope. She caught her with a double axe, coming off the rope and dropped 2 knees to the head. She would quickly lock her in a sleeper, having that wild look in her eye. Del Rey refusing to quit as she slowly rose and fought free, missing a clothesline as Asuka dropped her with a spinning neck breaker. She turned her over and quickly locked her within a clutch. Del Rey would not quit. Asuka breaking off and stomped upon her back, pulling her up and tossed her to the ropes, ducking as Del Rey would sunset flip. Asuka rolling back over a drop kick, but Del Rey somehow caught her legs, quickly latching it within her a Boston Crab, relocking the legs right into a clover leaf, placing her knee right into Asuka's back, bending her nearly in half. Oh, the screams that came out of Asuka's mouth were definitely echoing and bone-rattling. Reaching for the rope, but Del Rey wouldn't let her get far. Almost sitting down, bending her completely in half as Asuka had to try to break out. She would scream out and pulled her hair almost, using all the strength she could and broke out of the hold. She staggered to her feet with a hobble. Del Rey grabbing her and tossed her with a third belly-to-belly suplex. She dragged her up and then hit her with 3 German suplexes, releasing on the third one and tackled her to the buckle. Del Rey was a ball of fire, slowly setting her on top, climbing up, but Asuka began to fight back. She hit to her head and would headbutt her, grabbing a hold of her, locking her up, and leaping off with a super inverted Falcon Arrow. Del Rey hit hard as she was turned over, kicking out at 2. Asuka would drag her up with a boot to the ribs, double underhook in the arms, and dropped her with a pile driver. She smiled down at her, having a wicked look in her eye, going for a second run, but Del Rey countered with a back body drop. She leaned against the rope and snapped Asuka with a flapjack, followed by placing her upon her shoulders and dropped her with an inverted cradle pile driver. That nearly broke her fucking neck as she rolled back, dropping Asuka with a double underhook suplex to boot. She waited for her to rise, grabbing a hold and dropped her with a release tiger back suplex, followed by a baseball slide to the side of the head. She would then lock her in a layout eagle stretch, stepping upon her spine and pull back on the arms. Asuka would shake her head no, but her back and neck were in agony. Del Rey releasing her and just pulled her up, dropping her with a back suplex. She grabbed Asuka's legs, but Asuka would kick her free, rising up and caught her with a kick to the ribs and a spin kick over the head, sending Del Rey through the ropes to the apron. Asuka went for her, missing a punch as Del Rey grabbed her from behind, grabbing a hold of her head, and dropped her with an inverted suplex right to the fucking floor! Del Rey obviously was the first one up. Rising up, still bleeding from her head as she grabbed a hurt Asuka. She grabbed a hold of her and dropped her with a fourth belly-to-belly suplex right into the barricade, breaking it open. She grabbed her by the hair and just tossed her into the ring. Asuka having a faraway look in her eyes as Del Rey lashed her from behind with an inverted release T-bone suplex. She then rose up and dropped her with another release belly-to-belly suplex. She would look down at her, removing her wrist tape and wiped her eye, pulling Asuka up, placing her within her legs, and rose her up and dropped her with one powerbomb, holding on to her legs. She then pulled her up and dropped her with a second powerbomb. She held on to her legs still, raising her up and dropped her with a third, with this time turning it into a sit-out powerbomb. She rose up, getting ready to finish her off, pulling Asuka up, who quickly dropped her with a toe hold, face first into the rope. She watched her bounce off, raising her up, and dropped her with a burning hammer. That bought Asuka just a little bit of time. Both women just laying out, nearly killing each other, slowly starting to rise. She would cough a little bit as Del Rey dragged herself up. Both of them meeting in the center of the ring as they would exchange hands. Asuka catching her with one hell of a palm thrust to the face and a second one, hitting her with kicks, a spin fist, an uppercut, a headbutt, a kick to the ribs, literally kicking Del Rey down to her knees. She then just continued to kick at her with her vicious feet, to the chest, to the ribs, to the chest, to the ribs, to the head, to the chest, to the ribs, just continuing to kick the fucking shit out of her, coming off the rope with a knee, but Del Rey caught her, raising her up and slammed her with a capture sit-out powerbomb. Del Rey had her now as she waited, pushing her to the buckle, having her straddle the top rope, and started to climb up behind her. She locked her arms and came off the rope with a super tiger back suplex! That had to be the end of it as Del Rey knew it was over, watching Asuka rise, locking her for the Royal Butterfly, as Asuka spun out, quickly grabbed the arm and latched Del Rey in the Asuka lock! Call it desperation if you want. Asuka had it locked her in, squeezing and wrapped the legs around Del Rey, keeping her still. She would struggle and kick, trying to break free as Asuka almost shrieked out, latching it tighter. Del Rey was trapped trying to get out of it, blood trickling down her head as she refused to tap out, refusing to give up as Del Rey yelled out no. Asuka would squeeze even tighter, wrenching and pulling, having that wild look in her eye. Del Rey simply refusing to give up as Asuka's hands were covered in her blood. The grip almost loosening as she refused to let go, squeezing like an octopus as the ref walked over, raising the arm, but it didn't even drop once. Del Rey kept it up, refusing to tap out, screaming out, reaching for the rope, trying to get wherever she was. She was not going to tap, she was not going to quit. Asuka re-cinching in the legs, shrieking out once again as the ref leaned over. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner by knockout, Asuka! The crowd stood there stunned. Asuka just choked out Sarah Del Rey, a nearly undefeated champion of 3 years. Asuka beat her in her first going. She released the hold, slowly kneeling on her knees, raising her arm up and began to rise. Her neck was hurting, her back was hurting, but it didn't matter. She was going to the grand finale at Wrestle Kingdom, hitting the ropes and rose her arms up in victory, screaming out that the title was going to belong to her as Del Rey lay flat in the middle of the ring. Asuka freaked out that she was going to be the winner of G1, the winner of the whole thing, as looking from the stage was Awesome Kong with her arms folded. Asuka just licking her lips, pointing at her, saying she couldn't wait to get her hands on her, as Kong would just nod. As